Excuse me, Jesus Christ. The demons, they're escaping.
I've been asking the treetops what makes me wanna call out your name. Now I know, 'cause they told me that raindrops are bringing you back here to me. 'Cause they know where you are, and I feel that it can't be that far. Now I know, 'cause they told me that raindrops are bringing you back here to me. Now I know.
So have I got some news for you guys. It's a bit of a spoiler that I found on Facebook that it doesn't seem that anybody else is talking about this one just yet, so stay tuned because I plan on touching base on this shortly into this video. But for now, let's talk about the new July blog post that was released on the Star Stable Entertainment website blog. It goes on to talk about the summer festivals with senior game designer Ida Anderson-Yunka. She goes on to discuss how they have been revamping all of the festivals and that is her main focus currently. Also that they apparently do in fact pay attention to the input we give them in the comments and emails. I'm wondering how they're going to feel about all the complaints about the bug-ridden beach festival they're so proud to have delivered that seemed very subpar to what they had portrayed it out to be. I remember just discussing the other day in my Twitch stream how they portrayed the fishing event for the festival as something completely different than what we received. How there was going to be a point system for the fish we received and the sizes affected the points given. I mean, they did alter this with the second week of the beach festival so that we could get our Russian blue cat, which is great, but I thought it was going to be more of a game like a carnival perhaps, where we would collect X amount of points and fish and turn it in for said cat, but instead these points only affect whether or not you have to fish, say 10 times or 4 times, etc. Speaking of the fishing, not trying to birdwalk, in the last week's episode I was talking about how the new fishing chime is definitely helpful, and I wasn't sure if it was transferred over to our old fishing quests or dailies. I have confirmed it is not implemented in any of the past fishing content, and that is kind of a shame. Carrying on with Ida, she talks about our valuable feedback when it came to the Equestrian Festival, which personally I enjoyed the Equestrian Festival and it didn't seem to have too many issues with it. I felt we were given a good amount of content to keep up with and the experience from the races was nice. The introduction of Sabine was even better, way better than the introduction of Katya. What was that? Complete and utter garbage. We saw her for about a total of like 30 seconds and then never again. Not even seeing her in the second week of her introduction during the Rainbow Festival. I did love the introduction to the Katya quest, the eerie sounds, creepy childlike laughter, the badass dubstep Lindsey Sterling vibe music. The quest itself, with the giggles and the creepy factor, reminded me a lot of the BioShock Little Sisters, but that might just be me. I was heavily looking forward to Katya and her quests, and once again, I was heavily disappointed by Star Stable for not having given her as much time in the spotlight as they did Sabine. Also, comments about how they now realize that the festival may have been quite overpriced on items, the balloons specifically. They want to try, and I quote, to improve the festivals and deliver a better and more engaging experience with every single release. If that was the case, the events should have become better from that point on of the Equestrian Festival, right? Not worse, as I feel like they've become less and less engaging, in fact. I also find comedy in the moment that she mentions that there is a lot of different variables to consider in a world as big as Jorvik. I'm sorry. As big as Jorvik? The Jorvik that has barely grown in the last 11 years? Do they have any idea how big Jorvik really is? Because this, what we have is just a minute fraction of the size of the actual map of Jorvik. We are barely just a glimpse of the southwest corner of Jorvik. Moving on from there, she talks about how the summer festivals have basically been the key word here being an experiment, testing new ideas and trying to make each and every festival its own individual setup so they feel different from the last. One festival may focus on the competitive edge, as the Equestrian Festival did, or focusing on a more player involved storyline that didn't feel so streamlined when it came to the Rainbow Festival, as you weren't exactly forced to stick to a dedicated path on how to complete this given storyline quests. You were given free range on completing the color fragments in whatever order you wanted. Now, I personally do love more story-involved quests and more excitement, but I love the equal part of competition. And I know she says the Equestrian Festival was more hyper-focused on competition and racing. I honestly felt it was very balanced and had a good amount of both story and competitive edge. I feel that is the ideal. We had plenty to do, plenty of races to do that were exclusive to the festival itself, with the increasing value of experience as the festival neared its end. It was mostly perfect, in my opinion. She goes to confirm that this may in fact be the last year that we will be getting the Midsummer Festival, which I honestly don't think any of us would truly miss. There wasn't anything special or spectacular about it. I did like the new little fishing daily, but I was also kind of disappointed that we didn't get more to do with the Oracle tent. We got that one reading that wasn't even random or unique, as everyone had the same one, but it wasn't even a returning daily where I could get a new vision every day. I think that would have been a neat addition, similar to the tarot tent that Idris offers to us. But they wanted to keep the old traditions for nostalgic purposes while we say our goodbyes to this festival. Bringing in the talk of the future of Star Stable Online summer festivals to come, this summer they hosted 3 separate festivals, basically as an end-all be-all towards the goals for the coming years. Hoping to hear feedback from other staff as well as players to host a larger and more grand festival that is longer than normal. It will be the festival of summer to go alongside with Spring's Equestrian Festival, the Halloween events that we get in fall, and the winter and New Year's celebrations at the end of the year. They're excited for the future. They hope we are as well. I know I will be if the future of festivals is more similar to the Equestrian Festival in spring, but even better. Obviously, we can't keep introducing Sabine. It kind of sucks for new players that didn't get that content. I feel like they should allow new players to play those old festival quests that us as older players get to play, just so that they can experience the same story as us. I know that that would take up a lot of space, and Star Stable seems to be wanting to avoid taking up too much space on their projects. Anyways, they move on to talk about the Game Master program with the community moderator and Game Master lead, Emily Thomas, aka Game Master Wilma. Emily has been with the SSO team for a little bit over 2 years and knows just how passionate we are as players about this game. She goes on to tell us that the GMs are there to interact with us, not only to moderate, but also to gather feedback, have fun with us. Sometimes they like to start trail rides or even some hide and seek. Game Masters aren't always going to be max level either, as they are just like any other player, and they go through and test content out and quests just to see how everything is running for themselves. So not all Game Masters are going to have every area unlocked just like any normal player. Now, the part that I find mildly contradicting, which I had also spoke on when this blog post was released, I was reading it live on my stream. Emily here, Game Master Wilma, she tells us that the Game Masters are employees of SSO, but then she goes on to also say that they volunteer their time as Game Masters. So which is it? Are you a hired paid employee or are you a volunteer? Either way, Game Masters have a unique name appearance and specific gear to wear if they choose, which is kinda neat, But it's also so that there are no trolls that go around saying that they are going to ban people for no reason because apparently they're a GM. Which brings me to a funny moment that happened over on my server. Apparently, some child decided that they're going to post in chat on Windstar, the North American server, that their dad owns Star Stable, and they're going to have everyone's accounts deleted and banned. The sad part is that some of the kids on the server were freaking out that this was actually true. I can't even. Emily proceeds to talk about how one of her goals for Star Stable Online is to increase the presence of game masters across the diverse servers, so more players can experience time with them. Personally, I think they need to hire or get more volunteers from every single server, as in my many years of playing, I think I've only seen a game master on once. And if these are people that are playing alongside us, they really need to get people who delve deep and seem to find these bugs that we can actually try to get these things fixed and corrected. I think Emily should open up the email and applications so that she can hire or accept at least 5 to 10 different people per server. I understand that you can swap servers leisurely, so it shouldn't matter if you move to a different server or not. They could even implement it so that you only have GM status on an accepted server, so that you can maybe play a little more incognito elsewhere if you didn't like being stalked by players on your Game Master server. But I also feel like the Game Masters should focus a bit more on actually correcting player issues as well. I don't know how many times I've gone into my chat and immediately closed it because of the ridiculous things that are being said, and I can't actually believe that the filter lets it pass through. Last but not least from the news blog, we also have Clary, Star Stable's technical animator, finishing up the post with information about the long-awaited character updates. Scott himself has a bit of a hand in multiple areas of the game. It seems as he does some programming, some work with the 3D art, and of course, animation. He seems to be the one that probes the system and tests it to see what we can and can't do with the game, and when something can't be done, how to maybe find a workaround to make it happen regardless. He states that releasing the new avatars isn't exactly just about releasing a new and improved character for us. It's about releasing something that is going to open so many new opportunities and doors for us to explore when it comes to bringing in new animations, features, effects, items, and more. Going into how the improvements of how they're organizing the clothing assets already in the game. Being stored in one main file is not a viable option, and it's become cluttered. They want to break this down so it's not only making it easier to add new content, but it also lessens the possibility of adding or adjusting one item that maybe then breaks 10 other items. It makes it difficult as there's already a plethora of clothes and items in the game, but reading further, it does appear as though they are trying to make sure we are able to keep all of the items and clothing we already currently own, which for me is a huge, huge relief, as I know other players, not just myself, have spent heaps and heaps of star coins. So not just shillings, we're talking real life money on clothing items in this game. If they decided to get rid of all of these items, I assure you there would be a huge outrage from a lot of their players. Not to mention, I have items that date back from 10 to 11 years ago when Star Stable did their first festivals. Valentine's Day, Halloween, Christmas. I'm not trying to lose these items. Those are vintage and OG. Scott also talks further about how the new 2.0 avatars are going to be built so we can adjust and add to them. For example, different body shapes, which is definitely a cool feature, and I cannot wait for this. I love games that have diversity. The issue with this is that the clothing needs to be able to fall and meld correctly with different body shapes. And this is where Scott comes in to make these things easier for the dev team now and the future to come. They will, however, be limiting the amount of body shapes, etc., that will be added to the game, as Star Stable is very diligent about keeping the performance requirements of the game low so that people with lower NPCs may play, as well as being able to keep and adapt the game for its mobile counterpart. I definitely still look forward to the new character update, but as I said in the last video, they had told us that it was going to be released last year. And it seems from these new inclusive updates, it honestly seems as if they've only just recently really started working on it. And okay, yes, I want the new characters, but I'm willing to wait if it's going to be worth the wait. I don't want them to rush these, as I don't want them to mess them up and have random ass bugs and glitches that Star Stable is prominently known for. I love that they're taking their time, but this mild update about the characters seems a little bit lacking in comparison to our last two updates about the characters. But either way, any progress is good progress, right? I just want to go ahead and take this moment and opportunity to let you guys know, if you like this content, go ahead and like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. I'm usually posting every week on Thursdays, and I would love to hear some feedback from you guys, or anything that you would like to talk about or discuss. You know, leave a comment down below and let's get to talking about it. I seriously appreciate you guys watching my video, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of it. Thank you again. So before I go into that little information that I have that I want to share with all of you, let's just quickly go over August's roadmap. So the first week of August, we have August 3rd's update that we're gonna finally be getting the Shires. I had posted about this on my Instagram that we're finally getting the Shires the first week of August, and there will also be a new Pay Once Star Rider item in our bonus shop waiting for us. And then that will also start the new rotation, as I spoke in our last video, of Aranis and Petra being the new magical horses / old magical horses that are in the rotation. Now moving on to the second week of August, August 10th, Mr. Anderson has a new race for us at Valedale Lake. I kind of touched base on this as well last video, but here's the confirmation. It's happening week 2. And this is also going to be when we are fully retiring the Gen 2 quarter horses. So make sure if you want one of the Gen 2 quarter horses, get them before they are gone. Now week 3 is going to be very interesting. Week 3, August 17th, we might be getting some new storyline. It's reuniting with, you know, our soul riders, and we're gonna find out what exactly was scaring Pi. So it sounds like this is going to be a new quest that is going to finally be part of the story. I don't want to delve too much into what it said there. I'd rather keep that more of a secret. In a sense, it's not really a secret. You guys can go read the post yourself if you'd like to see everything that it talks about, talking about new and old enemies, etc. It should be interesting. It's something definitely to look forward to. I know I'm excited for that one. Now, this one came off guard. August 24th, the last week of August. We're getting 2 new horses. Has anyone heard about these horses? Hemera and Athea? It's autumn horses that we're getting, and from the little picture in the roadmap, it looks like maybe one has horns. I'm not sure. This is interesting. And there's going to be 2 new foxes that come along with them, Cruncher and Truffles. Seriously, this caught me off guard. I cannot wait to see these 2 new horses. as well as their pets. So it looks like I need to save up my star coins. So we'll see what happens, but August seems like it's going to be very filled with a lot of good things to come. So finally, the news I spoke about at the beginning of the video that apparently nobody else seems to be talking about. So unless you saw it for yourself on Facebook a bit over a week ago, you're getting some new exclusive update information and you're hearing it here first because I have been keeping my ears open to see if anyone else chimes in on it, and nope, nothing so far. So apparently there is an issue in current time that the new players of the game are rather upset about the fact that all of the old and original players are severely higher level than they will ever be able to attain. And that's solely due to having been on the game over the years of all the festivals and collecting player experience from them. Things that aren't really possible as of late. Did you notice the beach festival? It didn't give us a single player experience. This is just the beginning. Star Stable is now trying to figure out a way to close the gap. They want to make it so that new players have the opportunities to reach the same levels as the older players. Even myself, I'm not the highest level I could be. I was absent for a couple years, so I missed out on a lot of different player experience opportunities, as well as a handful of magical horses, which is why I'm happy that they're bringing back the birthday horse, as well as putting the magical horses in a monthly rotation. I know a lot of people hate it, but as someone who should have had the ability to buy them, but due to life handing me lemons, I never got the option. Sorry for the mild bird walking again, but back to the main topic at hand. Star Stable wants to close this gap and get the new players caught up with the old ones. They are trying to delve into ideas and ways to do this, and what exactly might that be? I assure you, it's not canceling giving player experience. This is just a temporary halt right now as they figure out how to implement their ideas and make things flow and happen. If they continue to have events in current time where the players all get experience from quests and festivals, there is absolutely no way for a new player to catch up. As an old player, I want to say, sucks to suck, but as someone who can empathize and put myself in the new player's shoes, I understand the frustration. It's not exactly fair for us older players to be untouchable, solely because we found the game years and years ago. Star Stable believes that everybody should be able to achieve the same level of success by putting in effort. So in order to slow the gap down, they are reducing the amount of quests that give player experiences, as I just previously said. As they explore their options, what might that option be? Might you have guessed it? Star Stable is talking about putting in a level cap. A level cap wouldn't exactly be a bad thing. I would hope that they would put it at level 24 or whatever the current highest level a player is, so that at least nobody gets their level brought down. Everybody will be able to achieve the level that is the current highest played level. I don't think it would be right if, say, a level 24 character is forced to be brought down to level 20. That would be kind of a slap in the face for them for all of these years that they've invested into the game. It's still a slap in the face regardless, but like I said, I understand it. As a, say, capped out level 17, 18 new player competing in a championship, it's not fair if us 20-somethings are racing because we already have a natural advantage. But I also do believe Star Stable could lift the cap on the horses level as the game has grown. Maybe it's time to raise the horse cap to level 20. And also, maybe reconsider making items that require higher levels in order for us to use them with even better stats. Being level 20 plus is great and all, but there's realistically no major perks to it other than getting to wave around your big internet ego of how much of a life you don't have because you've played Star Stable for the last 11 years. I'm calling myself out on this one. So I know that's a lot of new information to take in and definitely something interesting to think about, the whole concept of a level cap being implemented into the game. But let's move on to the Beach Festival week 2. Let's do a little bit of talk about what happened and what was added into this version. I don't know if a lot of you noticed the little sneak peek of the Shire. He's over by the dance floor, and oh my god, he is so freaking adorable. I could not contain myself when I saw him. As you saw in the background of the video playing for my week 2 of the beach festival, I immediately ran over to him and had to take 1,000 pictures with him. He is just too cute, and I cannot wait for them to get released. And speaking of the release of the Shires, they are coming out next week. We will be seeing the Shires next week. I am so excited for this. I hope you guys are too. I don't even know. I'm going to buy so many different versions of them. I want all of the colors. They are so cute. There's also going to be the app version of the Shire as well. I'm not sure if that one will be released on Wednesday as well, or if that's going to come out a little bit later. Usually they do it within like 24 hours of the update, so it should be same day if not next day. So along with the addition of the sneak peek of the Shire, we had quite a few quests that were added to this week of the beach festival. Now, a lot of them were just running back and forth and talking, but we did get the addition of the new fisherman quest that leads us down the path of the point system that I had touched base on earlier that leads us to the ability to gaining a new pet, the gray Russian blue cat, which he is so cute, and I actually have a cat in real life that looks just like him, so I absolutely need this. The only thing that I'm not happy about is there is quite a time constraint on it. Seeing as how we only have about a week left of the beach festival, we are required to do this fishing quest for 5 days. So you are technically only allowed to miss 2 days. And if you miss those more than that, you will never get this cat. Maybe next year. I don't know if they'll bring it back, but maybe next year. But if you don't get it this week in those 5 days, you're kind of, shit out of luck, for better lack of a term. So not only did we get the new fishing quest added, we also got, and I like this one, this was kind of interesting, a metal detecting quest. Now, the actual concept of the metal detecting is kind of annoying. I do find it hilarious that the metal detector sits on your horse's butt, and you are not allowed to fully gallop while doing this, by the way, which is very annoying. You're only allowed to do a slow lope, kind of the same thing with the boxes, just a little bit faster. So the thing is about the metal detecting, it's actually kind of interesting and different than anything else that's been in the game. You actually have a sense of a form of the memory game. Basically, once you go and find the item, it kind of gives you a clue and a possible name or potential person who it might belong to, and you have to remember and find where that person is. There's no markers on your map. You just gotta go to that person and hope it's the right person. For instance, in my video, I did metal detecting twice. So I did it once and I ended up getting Miss Holdsworth. There was, I believe, a bracelet that I got. So the name was kind of like scratched out and it was like Miss Holds or something like that, or it just said like Holds. And I had to figure out that, oh, hey, Miss Holdsworth. So I dropped that off with her. And then I came back and redid it because obviously it's a daily repeat. So it was available from the main story quest to now a daily repeat. And the repeat quest was for one in Madison of South Hoof, which that one was pretty easy to figure out because it was like her little Game Boy toy thing that she has, her Gemo or Gemo, whatever it's called. And it's actually kind of interesting. So I'm curious to see what other kind of items we're going to get that we're going to have to kind of remember NPCs that we dealt with prior, just so that we can turn in these items and get our little tokens for this festival. Also, totally random, but I want to chime in on this. Has anyone else noticed that Star Stable has clouds that are dedicated in the sky, but there is also moving clouds? I just noticed this. Yes, I know that they redid their sky map kind of recently, but I don't remember there ever being moving clouds. So that's kind of a realistic aspect that they added, and I absolutely love it. At the end of my video here, I literally spent probably a good 10 minutes just staring at the sky because I was so enthralled by it. But yeah, I digress. I would also just like to touch base a little bit further on week 2. It was about, I want to say, 35 minutes worth of content, depending on how slow or how fast you went. So I'm going to say about 35 minutes, which isn't too bad. I know I was half asleep when I was filming this, and I was struggling to stay awake towards the end of it because I was just tired. It was 2 o'clock in the morning by the time the update had released for me, and I was exhausted. But I think 35 minutes is a decent amount of time for the quests. Do I wish it was a little bit more? Yes, but you know what? It really could be a lot worse. So realistically, that's about it that was actually added to the daily quests that we have to do throughout the week in order to get our tokens. There wasn't too much, but the quest lines itself for the story quest was actually pretty interesting, and I know a lot of you love Yidris. He may or may not make a special appearance, so I don't know if you guys were paying attention to the background video, but something special might be there. So it's definitely an interesting quest line. I did enjoy the reading of it and everything like that. So I'm going to give them credit on week 2. I think week 2 was definitely more interesting story-wise than week 1 was. But I feel like it could have all been thrown in already on week 1, and then something else was maybe added, during week 2. Still a little bit upset that we did not get the lanterns as pets. I think that was such a genius idea. Maybe Star Stable will hear me out and next year we'll get the lanterns as pets or something. One can only hope. But with that, I haven't really had any new spoilers this week. Anything that's coming up that's going to be really interesting, possibly. Nothing confirmed at least. So I might have to hold off until next week for some new spoiler content if anything is released by then. But fall is approaching fast, so I know we can expect big things coming real soon. Thank you so much for watching, you guys, and like I said, if you like the content, go ahead, like, subscribe, and follow, and I hope to hear from you guys. And you know what? Have a good time playing on the beach with your horses. Happy riding, everybody.